couple of nice wins over the weekend for the Flames as Matt Coronato stays hot. Hey everyone, welcome into Hot Topics. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Postmedia Calgary Flames writers Wes Gilbertson and Danny Austin. And guys, a couple of big wins for the Flames this weekend on the weekend over Dallas and Vancouver. But a very interesting weekend overall for the whole entire team on and off the ice. Wes, we'll get to the games in a moment, but what stood out for you this weekend?
Yeah, I bet if you called in to the radio call-in shows on Saturday or Sunday, or even just tuned in, you probably didn't hear a lot of breakdown about the special teams improvements or, a couple, the first 3-game winning streak of the season for the Flames. There's been, and rightfully so, there's been so much sort of bluster around the comments that President of Hockey Operations Don Maloney has made in the past handful of days, indicating that the Flames are not going to throw in the towel, that they are not necessarily that enticed by the idea of getting a high pick in the draft and in the draft lottery. And that has certainly set the fan base on fire. And you get it. It's a team that when Maloney made those comments was at the very bottom of the standings. They've climbed up just a little bit now, but I think fans want to know kind of what the direction is. They want some assurance that if the team continues to flounder, guys like Rasmus Andersson or maybe Blake Coleman will be traded for future assets. And the weekend probably kind of muddies the waters a little bit more, because all the Flames have done since those comments from Don Maloney is win hockey games. And they won, swept a really tough back-to-back this weekend against Dallas and Vancouver. Their 5-on-5 game continues to look really sharp. Their special teams is starting to contribute, and I think a lot of people are sitting there going, "Oh, geez, what happens next?" And I got to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what happens next. It's there's been a lot of swerves in the road already for this Flames team.
Yeah, I mean, Don Maloney should be very grateful that this team put together the weekend they did, because it a little bit, and I'm not going to make his point for him because I disagree with him, but it was proof of the fact that the Flames have never been as bad as they've looked to start this season. They are a better team than a last place hockey team, and realistically, it is unrealistic to expect them to end up in dead last place this season unless you were trading away those guys. There is legitimate talent on this roster. They are not last year's San Jose Sharks with, a couple 18-year-olds who have no experience playing. They have guys in their early 20s who were not producing the way that you needed them to, and then you had some veterans who have really stepped it up, and these two games have sort of shown that. I mean, I can tell you, watching Vancouver last night, I thought the Flames were in a whole lot of a better situation than the Canucks are right now. I'd rather be Calgary than Vancouver any day of the week. I don't think it changes the fact that they have to trade Rasmus Andersson. He's getting traded one way or another. This team is going to have a high lottery pick. It's the weirdest thing for me about the Don Maloney comments was that they were made at all, because whether management wants this team to have a lottery pick or not, they're going to. So I do think that this weekend showed a little bit that this team is not hopeless. They've actually been pretty good over the last couple of weeks, and they've shown real improvements. It's just not going to make the fans happy who want the team to blow it up. So I don't know. There was just some weird timing with the whole thing. Maloney made the comments. No one wanted to hear it. And then the Flames went out, played pretty well. You got a reminder of just what it looks like when you're about to lose Quinn Hughes in 18 months. And, you'd probably, again, rather be the Flames than the Canucks right now. But the whole thing, it's been a bizarre weekend, to be honest. The timing of it all has completely turned my head upside down.
You kind of hit, though, on the... you use the word hopeless, and this is probably what this whole thing stems from, is hopeless for Don Maloney is, oh my God, my team has no chance to win on the ice. And hopeless for the fan base is, oh my God, we're going to finish somewhere between the the top of the lottery and a playoff spot. And fans in this city who have seen that movie play out so many times, absolutely are right to feel hopeless about that. And so that sort of murky middle is lurking again, and I think that's what terrifies so many of the people who voice their concerns over the weekend, whether that was on social media or fan forums or just bitching at their barista or whatever that happened to look like.
Yeah, honestly, like it is just worth noting that like this is all that anyone's been talking about. We're going to cover other topics of conversation because I think we have to move on from Maloney. But like unpacking what Don Maloney meant, what he could have said or should have said, has been like the primary activity that's taken place in Calgary over the last 3 days. Like, could
And
he
shoveling. Shoveling. We can add shoveling.
Snow.
Yes.
Yeah. But like, we both had that same sort of instant reaction, which was, well, what was he going to do? Come out and say, well, we're blowing it up and going for last place? That loses his leverage in the trademark. Like trying to figure out what should have been said, what could have been said. It's I guess been fun, but it's also been deeply confusing.
Yeah, it's hard to unpack the comments and why they were made at this point. But to your guys' points, you do not want to be in the murky middle. That's just sort of the reality these days of the way things are constructed with the lottery and with so much parity going on right now in both conferences. That can be good and bad, depending on how you want to look at it. So very weird time for the Flames on and off the ice at this point. But when it comes to on the ice performance, it was about a month ago. Matt Coronato was a healthy scratch. And since then, he's really upped his game. Danny now 6 points in his last 7, 5 goals during that stretch. Clearly one of the best offensive performers on this team. What are you seeing out of his game right now?
I will first of all say that I've actually been pretty impressed with the way Ryan Huska has used healthy scratches this season. I don't think he's used them punitively, with the exception possibly of Yegor Sharangovich. But I do think he has given guys a minute and said, hey, reset. Your game's not as bad as it is, but you're getting in your own head. Take a minute, get away from the rink, come back, be better. And I think Matt Coronato has really, really done that. I mean, he's going to the net. He's got a confidence. I mean, the goal that he scored against the Stars, that's a goal scorer's goal. He gets the puck on the stick. He makes an intentional move. It was pretty, and he gets it in. The fact that night sort of ended with him getting driven into the boards on a really dirty hit by Mikko Rantanen shouldn't distract from the fact that the guy is right now, he looks like the guy who we thought he was going to look like. People were talking about him scoring 40 goals. Well, now he's got 8 through about, 22 or 23 games. He may not get 40, but he might get 30. So this slump, he's worked through it. He's gotten over it. He's stuck to the process. And, it's boring sometimes when hockey players talk about sticking to the process, but you have to. You can't reinvent the wheel and change what got you here. And I think Matt Coronato has done a really, really good job of digging in and focusing on being the best version of the player that he is.
Yeah, I won't add too much to that because Danny's either been reading my notes or reading my stories, but I think the only thing I would probably chime in with is that it is working right now with Matt Coronato being on a line with Morgan Frost and Jonathan Huberdeau. And I think for the first time in his career, maybe he feels like the shooter on his line. And he's always been one of the shooters. He's played with Nazem Kadri, another guy who likes to shoot. He's played with Michael Backlund, a guy who always has high shot volume. And so I think Coronato looks now and sort of says, okay, well, these two guys are playmakers, and I'm the guy that they're trying to make the plays for. And I think that sort of extra pressure that he's put on himself to be the last touch before it goes in the back of the net, it is working for him. And, as Danny said, that was probably the most confident goal of Matt Coronato's career the other night against the Dallas Stars. And, aside from the broken nose and 2 partially black eyes, he does look a little bit like the guy that we got used to seeing last season, and the Flames really need him to keep it going.
Yeah, looking good right now for Matt Coronato. Lastly, we haven't had a chance to touch on this yet, but Sportsnet's Eric Francis reported last week that Flames defenseman Zayne Parekh would be loaned to Team Canada's World Juniors entry. Of course, he has to be healthy as he's currently week to week with an upper body injury. Danny, you wrote about this the other day. Why do you feel as though this would be a win for both sides?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no controversy here in my mind. It's something that, to be honest, I think that a lot of us were quietly talking about even going back to training camp. Like, in an ideal world, Zayne Parekh would probably be in the NCAA right now, or at the very least the AHL. I don't think he has looked ready for the NHL just yet, but I do agree also with the assessment that there's absolutely no reason for him to go play more junior. Having him around the NHL club, getting in those habits, building his body up a little bit is going to be good for him long term. But I don't know that him playing every night has all that much benefit. It's why I personally never thought that it was a problem when he was made a healthy scratch several times earlier in the season, despite the social media reaction. So go let him play great with guys his own age. He's probably every Canadian hockey player grows up dreaming of playing at the World Juniors, representing your country. Let him live that dream. He's 19 years old. Let him do it. He's not really going to contribute all that much to the Flames on the ice right now, so you can afford to have him go there and let him build that confidence, because I think he can dominate at the World Juniors. I think he can be the best player on the ice a lot of the time. So he can't do that at the NHL level right now, but there is absolutely no reason that I can come up with why you wouldn't want him going and representing Canada and having a great time with guys his own age and reminding himself of the hockey player that he really can be. I just think it's great, and I don't think that the Flames will miss him.
It's a good place for him to knock off the rust, I think, is a big part of it. Zayne Parekh will, by the time he goes to Hockey Canada's camp, and as you said, Rob, he needs to be healthy and cleared before we're sort of finalizing this discussion, but he'll have missed about a month, and so it's a way that they can knock the rust off. But I think, NHL teams, especially with kids that might not be fully ready for the NHL, they're always looking for, well, how can we sort of replicate high leverage? How can we put the sort of pressure on Zayne Parekh that will get him ready for the NHL or more prepared for the NHL without 18,000 people, groaning if he doesn't make the right outlet pass or whatever that looks like. And this at the junior level, the World Junior Tournament is the biggest, that's the most high leverage, high pressure, high stakes situation that you can put a player in. And I think, that goes two ways. It's both good development, but also, those kids know the pressure and the stakes, especially playing for Canada. And so the confidence boost that you can get from a good performance is, gigantic. You can really feel a whole lot better about yourself. And so it would actually, let's hope that the injury sorts itself out in time and Zayne Parekh is back on the ice. It would be a shame if he didn't go play for Canada at the World Juniors this December.
Yeah, it would be a big benefit for sure for him and his development. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Wes Gilbertson and Danny Austin, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you on the next one.